Hey guys, how's it going? So at the start of the next season, Embark is doing a full melee rework. Honestly, I don't have a lot of faith in them at this point to do a good job on the rework, but I still wanted to jump on and give my wish list for melee as a whole and my hopes and dreams for next season. We'll be starting on heavy and then we're gonna go all the way to my boy, light sword. And there's a little bonus on the end of each class. I've given a little dream melee weapon for each one. Okay, so heavy. Let's start with the elephant in the room, winch claw. Winch is the root of basically every problem with melee and other weapons as a whole. The reason things get nerfed so much is because of winch claw. There's no getting around it. Winch claw has been the worst addition to this game, bar none by far. Even now, melee's still not that bad on heavy because of winch claw. Winch does all the hard work. It brings the guy to you. That is the hard part of melee, and it does all that. It stuns them, it brings them closer to you, and you get to do all of your melee damage because of it. Old Sledge was so oppressive because of this, because you could instant kill every light instantly. This is also why I don't think Ember can even rework melee heavy as a whole, because they're going to keep winch claw in. And the main solution would be to remove winch claw. It needs to go. It's the only way to fix melee heavy. Because then melee heavy, Sledge could have its insta-kill, the spear could do its thing that it normally used to be able to do, but now can't. Winch just makes everything worse in this game. Everything by far. You don't like getting hit by it, you don't like versing it, and when you're using a melee weapon, it's 0 to no work and makes you hate melee heavy. When that shouldn't be the case. It should be a niche pick. It should be easy to use and hard to master, but it's just not the case. My hope for next season for the rework would literally just be remove winch and fix the damage numbers on spear and sledge. That would be the main solution. The only thing I could think of that could fix it. My dream melee weapon for heavy would be gauntlets, man. A pair of fucking gauntlets. It'd be so sweet to just be... And then imagine you got like this all might charge where you do the smash attack and then he like pushes like air out of his fist and it does like AoE damage for like 50 or something. I don't know. It'd be cool. It's a cool idea. Melee medium has had it rough from its conception, from its very conception, because medium does not have movement that isn't already movement that other people could use. That has changed this season with Shockwave, but if another medium is using Shockwave, you're definitely not getting in. But in fairness, melee medium has never been the aggressive kind of melee. It has always been super defensive. That's why dual blades are deflex, and that's why riot shield is a riot shield. That said, there's a way to give it more of a presence. And my thinking is, if we up the movement speed of when you're holding right click for the deflect and the right click on the riot shield. Not a full walk or run, but upping the speed so that you at least get a bit more pressure on the opponent. That at the very least is my idea for riot shield. I can't imagine there being much else you could do for riot shield as a whole. It's just, in its very concept of where it's sitting on medium, it makes it very hard to use. But deflect for the dual blades, there's something we could fix. Give it 100% accuracy. Then I will use dual blades. But because it's not 100%, you are deflecting, taking chip damage, and you're not even getting the hit half the time. I really don't think it would be that broken to make it 100% accurate, so it doesn't make a lot of sense that it isn't. If it's really that bad, I think maybe to give it that 100%, add more chip damage to the deflect is my guess. It's literally the only reason I don't play dual blades, is because when you deflect, you just don't get the 100% chance of hitting them. Now for a dream melee medium weapon, I was thinking, because the last two have been super defensive, the only one I could think of that would be aggressive for melee on medium and would give you an opportunity to have some range on a weapon would be, there's this thing I've seen on like TikTok and YouTube shorts, this guy who'll swing around like a knife or like a big blunt object on a rope. I'm thinking that, man, that would be hot. Give it like 2 meters range. I'm not sure how many meters would be too much or too little, but give it 2 meters range for the left click. And then for right click, what you do is you charge it up and it's kind of like knives, except it's got limited range and it does more damage. No, maybe not more damage because then it would insta-kill lights. Let's not do that. Maybe the same amount of damage as throwing knives. I think the same amount of damage as throwing knives would be actually fair. I don't know how they would do it, but you know what? Figure it out, Ember. I've given you the list. Go on, get to work. All right, light, my boy. Let's talk dagger first, and then we'll get into, yeah. Right now, getting a backstab with the right click feels way harder than it should. I don't know the degrees on it specifically, I haven't looked it up, but it used to be 180, which means you could hit them on the side and it would be a backstab. But I do think, admittedly, that was a little much. Maybe 160. I don't think it's 160 now. I think it's got to be way less. It sucks to get backstabs at the moment. So I think 160 would be a very consistent way of getting backstabs. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with the charge up mechanic for the dagger. I know some people miss the good old throw it up in the air, catch it, and then do the backstab because you keep your movement speed. Being able to time exactly when you want to release the backstab is so much better than having a little bit extra movement speed. Like I said, some people hate the slowdown on the right click, but I think the control that you get from it is just so much better than the movement. Now, sword. I know. I never really talk about sword. So what kind of opinion would I have, me of all people, about sword? Well, shockingly, I have a couple ideas when it comes to this weapon, and today I'm going to give them. All jokes aside, I think sword right now is viable, with quotation marks, but not fun. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a second. First things first, I want to talk about the glitch that I found for sword. I'll show a clip of it now. Essentially, the bug is when you lunge just before you land, for some reason, the camera will go back to its old vertical lock. And on top of that, it will lunge you forward. I thought this was a bug. Turns out this is a feature. This is something they actually added into the game. Embark is out here trying to fix things that don't exist. No one's had this problem. I don't know what dev was having problems landing and lunging. In fact, it was such a good thing that this didn't happen, because you could land, and just before you land, you could do the lunge, do that damage just before you land, and then you could finish it off with your combos. It felt so much better that way. But now, you could do it just on someone's head. It will lunge you forward. You won't get the hit because it's vertical locked you. And then on top of all that, you have now not got the hit. You are out of position. You are not in melee range, and you are going to die, essentially, or you'll have to escape. It's stupid, bro. Now you have to jump in with a left click. It's so boring. This is such a... I don't understand the devs and their logic behind the sword. They got to stop touching it, man. They don't know what they're doing with this weapon at all. All right, now that that's out of the way, I'm going to talk about the fix that I think the devs could realistically do. Now, I want to say, ideally, the fix is revert to Season 3 sword. Ideally, but it's just not going to happen. I don't think there's a world where they'll ever go back to 2-tap lunge for mediums. It's not realistic. So I would say this is the most realistic scenario I could see sword being A, viable, and B, fun again. I want it to be fun again, man. First, this is a non-negotiable. Remove the lock on lunge. This is the worst thing that you've ever put on the weapon, by far, bar none. But how do we remove the lock without people complaining about it? Easy. Remove multi-hit. Remove cleave. It is unneeded on the lunge. You don't need it, okay? It was nice. Season 3 sword felt amazing, and Season 4 sword felt amazing. We love that sword, and I'll miss it till the day I die. But let's talk realistically here. People complained about it all the time. There's nothing I can do to stop that. So the only way I can see is, in order to make the weapon more fun, would you just remove the lock, bro? It's just like the most unfun mechanic I've ever played with. This is on a weapon that is based all around movement, and you have put a lock on it. What are we doing, dude? Like, there are better ways to go around it. You reduced the damage before to 105, and that way you couldn't one-shot lights where you thought that was the problem. I want to say that sword felt better because that didn't have the lock. That sword felt better, dude. I had an easier time killing lights with that sword because I could track the light with my sword. But now when you've locked my camera, it's impossible to hit with a lunge unless they are standing perfectly still and do not see you coming. It's stupid. So yes, first, remove the lock. Second, remove the cleave. And that way, no one complains about a sword light dashing through a group of 3 and dealing 120 to all of them and dipping. Right? We don't have to worry about that anymore because it won't be the case. Heck, if you want to keep the cleave, then the lock that you should be doing on the sword, the only thing I can imagine where the lock would be okay is 180 degrees, dude. Give it 180 degrees. So that way I could track as I'm going past, bro. I can actually do quick melees as I'm going past. You know how hard it is to do a quick melee on a light when you hit the lunge and you're dashing past them? It's next to impossible because you gotta swing by so fast with the fucking mouse. And you gotta hope that you hit it. And if you don't hit it, you were better off just left clicking, bro. Like, it's stupid. Remove the lock, remove the cleave, and keep the damage numbers, to be honest. I don't think mediums would complain about keeping the damage numbers. You get double lunge, quick melee, I can work with that. The combos are still like, I could do lunge, quick melee, left click, quick melee, but I could consistently do lunge, quick melee, left click, quick melee. I could consistently do it. That's the thing. I would rather be able to consistently do it than hitting the lunge and missing my quick melee and still have to left click. It's gross, bro. And every time I do that, I'm like, I may as well just left click it 3 times. It's stupid. So let me track them, please. Let me track them. Let me use my camera on the game. Sword should never have been a jump in, die, deal massive AoE damage. That should never have been its meta at all. The way the sword was meant to be played, and the way I played it in Season 1 and Season 2, was it had no cleave back then. I want that noted. But it had the cancels. The cancels were a little fucked. I won't lie. Cancels were a little fucked, but it was all about individual kills. You would go in and you would snipe certain players and individually take them out one by one, making sure that they were separated. But now you want them clumped up, and now you hope that they're clumped up so you can get massive damage. It's silly. It's silly. I don't want to play like that. I want to play like a goddamn assassin. And I understand the dagger is like that, but the dagger's not like that, bro. It does not have the movement. The way I've seen the melee weapons for the longest time was dagger was the one where you could get the kill quick. That was the thing. You get the kill really quick and dip. That was the weapon. The way I see sword is movement. It was always about movement. You had the movement to get in and get out on a guy. It's the same thing. You're still killing one guy, but you had the movement to maneuver around and possibly not die. Cleave just added a whole new layer to make people just complain more and more about this weapon, and you nerfed it. So here's the order of how things have gone with the sword, in case you guys don't know. Season 1 and Season 2, cancels. Season 3, cleave, no cancels. Season 4, better cleave and cancels. It's the same cleave, but it was faster. This is a current lunge the way it works now. It keeps a consistent speed the whole way through. Season, I don't know what the next season was, but I'm pretty sure it was a nerf, and then it was another buff, and then it's just been nerfs. It's honestly just been nerfs the whole way through. They do not know what they wanted to do with this sword. So my hope, I don't have any faith, but my hope is Season 11. They actually do something with this weapon that makes it fun and viable again, bro. I just want it to be fun and viable. That's it. I'm not asking for it to be meta. I'm not asking for it to be the best. I'm asking for it to be fun and viable. The lock makes it anti-fun. So not fun. Lock forces you to use left clicks nearly all the time. And that's just not fun, bro. I'll be real. It's just not a fun way to play. All right, so my light weapon that I dream about having is a hatchet. So the hatchet would work kind of like the sword. I don't know what the damage numbers would have to be for the left click or how fast it would be. But yeah, kind of like the sword in terms of the left click. But the right click is where the things get interesting. It would be kind of like throwing knives, but with a bigger arc. And you would get 2 charges and you'd have to reload to even use the weapon completely ever again. I don't know how long the reload would have to be, but yeah, I think that would be kind of cool, to be honest. You could initiate the fight with a hatchet, but then you wouldn't do it a second time because then you'd have to reload. So you'd dash in and do left clicks or something. Or you'd start with the left clicks, they'd run away. That would be so sick, bro. It sounds like such a sick weapon. But anyway, that's my Season 11 wish list for the melee rework. Hopefully it comes out good, man. I've got my fingers crossed. Don't get it twisted, man. I have got my fingers crossed that they do something with this rework that's actually good. I just haven't got my hopes up because I know what things have been like for sword and melee as a whole. So they keep saying they want melee to be viable. I just don't see it, bro. I just don't see it. They literally just do not want it to be viable. And that's fine, I suppose, but I've played FPS my entire life. I was global elite in CS. I was immortal. I don't know if it was 1 or 3, whatever the highest immortal was in Valorant. I was diamond in Overwatch, a top 100 Hanzo, or was it Farah? One of the two at some point in Overwatch. And then I found this game, dude. I found this game, and it had a weapon that I've never seen the likes of in my life. This weapon that felt so unique, so different. The movement felt amazing. It was like Genji ult, but permanent. It was so fun, bro. And Ave slowly and steadily tore it down from its main thing that everyone enjoyed about it and tore it down to nothing. Which I think, like, there's definitely middle ground we could have met in between Season 1 Sword and Season 10 Sword. And we're just not meeting that middle ground. I just feel like MBUK does this thing where they like to go from one extreme to the other. And they don't really slowly nerf things like the sword. I'll say they slowly nerf things like model and other weapons that get slowly nerfed or slowly buffed. But the sword, it's like, boom, big thing. Change it completely. You gotta relearn the entire weapon. Nearly every season, bro. So here's hoping, man. Here's hoping. Fingers crossed that, you know, like I said, my hopes aren't high. Anyway, make sure you subscribe, see more content like this, and I will see you next time.